Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into a story that's, well, it's really captured the internet's imagination, and frankly, it's shown up in our listener requests quite a bit. We're looking at the whole Kate Yap situation. She's a popular mukbang YouTuber who kind of unexpectedly found herself right in the middle of some really intense online speculation.
Yeah, and it's a perfect example, isn't it, of how these online things can just explode. You get a few unusual details, a lack of solid info, and suddenly theories are everywhere.
Exactly.
So our aim today is really to, walk through the evidence, what people were saying, what Kate herself said, and try to apply a bit of critical thinking to it all. It's important for all of us online, really.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Who is Kate Yap? Well, she does mukbang videos. That's where people eat large amounts of food on camera. And she's popular, like over 500,000 subs, videos getting millions of views.
Big numbers.
Right. But what made her stand out, and maybe sparked some of this, is that she almost always hides her face. Either the camera angle is high, or she wears a blindfold.
Which is definitely unusual for the genre. Not unheard of, maybe, but noticeable.
Definitely noticeable. So, okay, that's maybe a bit different, but why did so many people jump to thinking she was in danger?
Yeah.
Like kidnapped or being forced to make these videos?
That was the core theory, wasn't it? That something sinister was happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, and the emails we saw, the comments online, they all seem to list the same kind of clues. The blindfold, obviously. Then apparent scars or marks on her arms. Even her mouth sometimes.
Right, people were screen grabbing and zooming in.
And she never talks, really. Just silence. Doesn't drink water either, which people found super weird given the food.
Yeah, the no drinking thing came up a lot.
Plus, these claims of hidden messages, whispers in the audio, tapping sounds, even coded text, and people saying they heard someone rushing her. It all just built this really dark picture for some viewers.
And it shows how quickly a narrative forms online, doesn't it? You get these ambiguous elements, maybe some genuine oddities, and the human brain just wants to connect the dots, especially when information is missing.
We love a pattern.
We absolutely do. And sometimes we find them, even when they aren't, strictly speaking, there. Speculation fills the vacuum, and often the most dramatic explanation gets the most attention, pushing aside simpler possibilities.
That's a really good point. So let's try to unpack these clues piece by piece. The physical marks first. People pointed to videos, like back in June 2019, where you could see marks on her arms.
Yeah.
And that mark on her lip, viewers were convinced it was some kind of injury. And she always wears this wristband, right? So the theory was maybe she's covering up even more marks under there.
The speculation just feeds itself.
Then the communication thing. Or the lack of it. She's basically silent. Maybe a whispered greeting, but otherwise it's all text on screen.
Which is, again, unusual maybe, but not impossible for a content creator style.
True. But combined with not drinking water, people seem particularly bothered by that. They'd say the food looked, unappealing to them, so not drinking seemed physically impossible or just really strange.
Perplexing for some viewers, yeah.
Okay, and then the really explosive stuff, the hidden messages. This is where it gets into like full-blown conspiracy theory territory for some.
Right. What were the main types?
Well, people claimed they could hear whispers if they listened closely at certain timestamps, saying things like hurry up or just eat.
Suggesting someone else was there coercing her?
Exactly. Then there was the tapping. People were convinced it was Morse code, specifically spelling out help.
The classic Morse code theory. Comes up a lot in these online mysteries.
It does, and some even tried decoding the text you put on screen, like taking the first letter of each sentence in one video to spell out, I think it was HL1 at about, something like that.
Wow, that's intricate.
Yeah, and comment sections just became this echo chamber. People sharing timestamps, agreeing they heard something, some even claiming they saw someone else reflected in like a spoon or something.
And this is where psychology comes in, isn't it? Pattern recognition is powerful, but so is confirmation bias. If you expect to find something sinister,
you'll probably find it, or something you can interpret that way.
Exactly. You start filtering the noise to fit the narrative you're already building. A random sound becomes a whisper. A skin blemish becomes a bruise. The brain is fantastic at creating meaning, sometimes even where there isn't any intended.
So with all this swirling around, how did Kate Yap herself react? Did she address it?
She did, yeah. Apparently these theories had been bubbling for a while, maybe since around April of that year the source video looked at things.
Okay.
So she posted a video called I'm Alive. Pretty direct title.
Can't get much clearer than that.
Right. It was her usual style, eating, but with text at the start saying basically, I'm okay, don't worry. She also posted on her community tab, reiterating, I'm fine, nobody is forcing me.
Did she explain the specific things people were worried about, like the marks or the tapping?
She did try. She said the marks on her arm were just from the sun, like sunspots or something minor.
Okay, plausible.
And the mark on her lip, she said it was a cold sore. Again, very common.
Right.
As for the tapping, she apparently addressed it in comments, saying it was too sporadic, not rhythmic enough to be actual Morse code, basically trying to debunk the evidence point by point.
So direct denials and explanations. Did that work? Did people accept it?
Well, that's the thing with these online movements sometimes. For a lot of people, no, it didn't work. The denial itself almost became part of the conspiracy for some.
Like, of course she'd say that if she was being forced.
Precisely. So the comments kept coming, people urging others to call the police, report her to YouTube, demanding intervention, and the drive to figure out who she really was intensified.
The doxing attempts.
Yeah. That's when the focus shifted to trying to find more permanent identifiers, like the tattoo that was supposedly revealed under her wristband. It just shows how hard it is to put the genie back in the bottle once a compelling, dramatic narrative takes hold online. Skepticism towards the official explanation can become really entrenched.
Okay, so let's shift gears now and look at this with a more analytical perspective, trying to be objective. Those marks on her arm, yes, you can see some.
Agreed, they are visible in some frames.
But can we say for sure they're bruises from abuse? No way. Discoloration, sun marks, like she said, or a random bump or scrape. There are tons of possibilities.
Absolutely. It's a huge leap to go from unidentified mark to kidnapping victim. Her explanation is perfectly reasonable. Same for the cold sore, very common, looks like a small wound.
Right. Now, masking her identity and not talking. Why might someone do that other than being held captive?
Well, this is where context is key, isn't it? Privacy. Many online creators, even major celebrities, try to maintain anonymity. Fame has downsides. Harassment, stalking, losing your private life. Choosing not to show your face or use your voice is a completely valid way to protect yourself.
And she actually said she prefers to hide her identity. Plus, disabling comments earlier, then adding disclaimers later. That sounds more like someone trying to manage their online space, not someone sending secret signals.
It suggests an awareness of the platform and a desire for boundaries, yes.
Okay, what about the silence and the no drinking thing, especially with the unappetizing food? This bit is actually really interesting when you dig a little.
Go on.
Her videos aren't just tagged mukbang, they're also tagged ASMR.
Ah, okay. That changes things.
Right. People who make ASMR content often deliberately speak very little or only whisper. It's part of creating those specific sound triggers for the listener. Her quiet style fits perfectly within the ASMR genre conventions.
That makes a lot of sense.
And the unappetizing food. Look, mukbang isn't always about Big Macs. A lot of it is niche. Her niche seems to be seafood, raw fish, shellfish, that kind of stuff.
Which plenty of people love.
Exactly. I mean, I like poke bowls. Lots of people eat raw fish. It's only unappetizing if you personally don't like seafood. It's a specific culinary focus, not necessarily a sign of distress.
So the eating style fits a niche, and the silence fits the ASMR angle.
Precisely. Now the tapping and hidden messages. The tapping. Like she said, and like seems obvious when you listen critically, it's just too random for Morse code.
Yeah, Morse code has a very specific structure. Random taps are usually just random taps. Fidgeting, maybe.
Probably. And the whispers. This is likely a case of audio pareidolia.
Like seeing faces in clouds, but with sound?
Exactly. Our brains are wired to find patterns, especially human speech. If you're listening really hard for a whisper and background noise, especially if someone told you to listen for it.
You're much more likely to hear something that sounds like speech, even if it's just random noise artifacts.
Right, and people pointed out that her older video comments were pretty normal. It was only after the scary theory started spreading that people began noticing all these hidden signals everywhere.
Confirmation bias again, reinforcing the belief.
Which leads to a really important point about the danger of all the speculation, especially the doxing attempts.
Oh, absolutely critical. Trying to uncover someone's private identity online, even if you think you're helping, is incredibly risky.
You can easily get the wrong person right.
Easily, and you could subject a completely innocent person to harassment, police involvement, serious disruption to their life, all based on misinterpretations of online content. The potential for harm is huge. Responsibility is key.
So was it maybe an ARG? An alternate reality game? Some kind of elaborate performance art?
It doesn't really seem like it. Most people who analyze ARGs concluded this wasn't one. Well, proper ARGs usually have more structure. designed puzzles, clues leading to external sites, a clearer narrative arc. This felt more chaotic and reactive. The help messages were maybe the closest thing, but even those felt ambiguous.
Maybe she just leaned into it a bit once the theories took off. Like if people wouldn't believe her denials anyway.
That's possible, a sort of meta-commentary perhaps, but it doesn't have the deliberate, crafted feel of a typical ARG.
And what really seals the deal for me, analytically speaking, is the comparison to another case.
Ah, you're thinking of Marina Joyce.
Exactly. A few years before Kate Yup blew up, there was the Marina Joyce situation. Another YouTuber, similar claims people thought she'd been kidnapped, was being forced to make videos. They analyzed her eyes, heard whispers.
It's uncanny how similar the core accusations and the type of evidence were.
It's almost the exact same pattern of online speculation playing out again, which really suggests it's more about how online communities react to ambiguity and perceived strangeness, rather than the specifics of either case necessarily pointing to genuine danger.
It really highlights that capacity of online groups to amplify anxiety, doesn't it? You get ambiguity, the brain seeks patterns, finds evidence, shares it, others confirm it, and suddenly you have this collective conviction, often overlooking simpler explanations. It underlines why media literacy is so vital.
What do you mean by that exactly?
I mean the ability to step back and ask, okay, what am I actually seeing here? What are the facts versus the interpretations? Am I looking for something specific? Recognizing our own biases and our brain's tendency to fill gaps with narrative is crucial. The Kate Yup thing is almost a perfect case study in that ambiguity vacuum.
Yeah.
The key takeaway isn't just Kate Yup was probably fine. It's more about understanding the process by which that concern arose and how to approach similar online ambiguities with more caution and self-awareness next time. Question your own lens first.
So, wrapping this up, what started as this really intriguing kind of spooky online mystery, when you actually break it down, look at the context, consider things like ASMR, privacy, psychological phenomena like pareidolia.
It mostly seems to unravel into something far more mundane: personal choices, niche content, and the internet doing what the internet does best.
Speculating. It's a good reminder that not every weird thing online is a conspiracy. Sometimes it's just weird. Or private. Or our pattern-seeking brains working overtime.
Which leaves us with a thought to ponder, perhaps. In this digital age, where we're constantly bombarded with content and online personalities, and where speculation can spread like wildfire, what's our responsibility as viewers and participants to verify, to question our assumptions before jumping on the bandwagon?
That's a heavy one. Definitely something to think about.
Indeed.
All right, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the Kate Yup phenomenon. We hope it gave you some food for thought and maybe some tools for navigating the wild world of online information.
Keep questioning, keep analyzing.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep digging deeper.